Hello and welcome to BTE Media's In Conversation With series. This afternoon, I'm delighted to welcome Sarah Beall, MD of Forum Events and Media Group, a business that specialises in bringing buyers and suppliers together through summits and conferences. Good afternoon and welcome, Sarah.
Hiya, Dan.
How are you on this fine day?
I'm good. Yeah, locked in, but not as bad as last time.
Well, yeah, it's funny because it's almost like a pseudo lockdown, isn't it? Because so much is open and the streets are still and the roads very busy, but we are where we are.
Yeah, we're a bit more prepared this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we know how to use Zoom, right? So that's good.
Yeah.
Probably too much. We're obviously going to talk about a range of issues over the next sort of 30 to 45 minutes. But for our viewers, if you cast your mind back a few years, not that many years, it'd be great if you sort of bring to life your career in this sector, really, and sort of how you got involved in Forum.
Yeah. Okay, well, I got involved in Forum when I was about 18.
Right.
So that's 22 years ago. Yeah, I had my 40th in lockdown.
Well, congratulations. I think. I don't know. Is that
I'm still 39 now. We're wiping out this year.
Yeah.
Started in Forum as a salesperson, and then I've been there ever since, and just worked up my way up in terms of the sales director role, and then the managing director role, and then purchased shares from one of the shareholders who retired, and just been from there. So there's 3 shareholders of the business, and there's about 55 staff members now today.
And can you tell us what it does, if you like, if that's an easy question to answer? We'll come on to the virtual stuff in a minute, but I guess maybe pre-pandemic, what it did, who it was for, etc. Yeah,
I mean, Forums was the core business. It started off as Forum Events, and then the media side came afterwards. So a forum is basically a gathering of people where we'd enter into an industry and bring buyers and suppliers together. But different to an exhibition or an event or a conference, what we would do, we would pre-qualify each buyer. So we'd look at their buying trends, what their budgets are, what they're looking to purchase over the next 12 months. And then we would match them with service providers and solution providers in a series of face-to-face meetings.
Okay.
So everything was pre-arranged and obviously pre-agreed meetings over 2 days.
And that's across many different industry sectors, right?
Yeah, there's about 20 different industry sectors. There's 36 live events, and now we're running virtual. So next year we've got about 47 events.
Wow. And when you first started, how many events were there?
When I first started, there's about 7.
Right. Yeah. So it's safe to say that the trajectory has been sort of up. Obviously, as you said, they're very different to trade shows or big exhibitions. Why do you think it's been so successful over those years?
I think because it is such a difference. I think, trade shows are absolutely great, and, we want them to come back in full force. Because buyers that go to a trade show, they're there to meet people and to do deals and to see and feel and touch. But it also brings the industry together, more of a community. People people go there for meetings, for awards, for the exhibitors party, which always a good one. And obviously with a forum, it's on a much smaller scale. There's only roughly around 140 to 150 people.
Right.
The people that come to the event are there and choosing to meet with the suppliers in a completely different environment. So I wouldn't class forums as being a competitor to any kind of other trade show, but I would love to have that whole, what is the event industry? Well, it's classed as conferences, exhibitions, events, forums. I'd like it to be part of a concept to bring buyers and suppliers together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and we'll come on and talk about that because there's been a lot of discussion when the industry, whatever that is, has tried to lobby government and change policy at this time. What does the industry mean, and how does the government define it? Can you give us an example in terms of one of your events? I guess, and obviously there's hundreds. what type of people come then, and who are they meeting? Maybe just give me an example.
Yeah, they're all decision makers.
Yep.
So if I took the facilities management industry,
Yep.
so that would be facilities managers from large companies coming along to meet with suppliers that do everything for the office environment, which could be energy management, it could be flooring, air conditioning. Yep. And we obviously they've got their budgets to spend, and they're meeting up with suppliers of their choice.
Yep.
So and we submit all this information prior to them actually attending.
Yeah. And so you've obviously built up a very powerful database of buyers in those industries, right?
Yeah. I mean, we launched one of our media arms is the Briefing, which is a newsletter that goes out across about 13 different brands of our forums, right, collaborated together. So facilities management, security are together. You know, we collaborate them, the health and safety side of things.
Yeah.
And I think that we get advertisers want to sponsor that newsletter because, you know, it is a high caliber of people, because that's all we invite. You know, we invite the quantity, so the quality, sorry, of the buyer rather than the quantity, sorry.
Yeah. And in terms of the commercial model, how does it work?
So the suppliers will underwrite the whole cost
of
attending. The buyers will come free of charge.
Yeah.
Obviously, they would have to be pre-qualified to attend. So, you know, they need to be accepted as invitation-only event.
Yeah.
And then obviously we underwrite the cost of the accommodation, the meals, everything else apart from them getting to the event.
Yeah. And they're typically held at hotels or other venues, or
typically held at hotels, which is one of the most frustrating things with this whole situation that we're in, because, you know, I do feel like this whole pandemic's classed events as mass gatherings, and, you know, the hospitality industry has suffered a lot because they can't hold business meetings, and I would class forums as business meetings as well as conferences.
So coming on to sort of March, so we were just talking beforehand, like the pandemic hits. I think you said you were in the middle of a, you know, obviously a period of doing events. Tell us what happened. You know, what was your thinking? What you know, how did it impact you directly at the time?
Well, at the time we were holding an event in the building and construction industry, and that was in March. And obviously, like many other live events then, we had, even though we wasn't on lockdown and we could hold events, a lot of people didn't want to come because there was a virus out there. So because it's pre-arranged face-to-face meetings, we facilitated a number of sort of telephone calls, telephone meetings, and then that's what made us, using the word pivot, us into running our concept of face-to-face meetings virtually. So we spent from March till June creating our own software, designing our own software, because we own our own software which pre-matches the meetings. We developed that to integrate video calling.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you've got your own proprietary software, which you have a team of developers, or it's like an ongoing project where you're sort of leveraging the different technology that comes on stream?
Yeah, so basically the system takes all the requests of the buyers and suppliers, and then it will look at the algorithms and match and create personalised itineraries for each attendee that attends an event. And normally everyone would turn up at an event, they would receive their itinerary, they go over to their stand at that certain time, and they meet with the supplier that they've chosen to meet with, or the supplier's chosen to meet with them. So it's a match. So what we've done is, instead of them going to a live event, they each get a link to their individual event page online, and it will have their itinerary. And when it says, you know, that, you know, Dan Assor is meeting with a stand contractor, you click on the Join Now button and it'll open up a face-to-face meeting, but online.
All right, fantastic. So you actually took the decision, I guess, relatively early in the pandemic, because a lot of people, look, we know more about it now, but back then, some people were thinking, well, it might be a month, might be 6 weeks, might be back to normal. But what you're suggesting is you took that decision quite early to change your solution.
To change. I think because we had the proprietary software and we knew we could develop it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of event technology software out there. I feel like if they all got together, they could create a brilliant software that would service the event industry. Yeah. But I think a lot of people have struggled to find that whole exhibition interaction online. It's very difficult. But with regards to these events, I mean, we did have the date of let's go live in July, let's go live in September, let's go live in, now we're looking at April. So I feel like we did move extremely quickly and flip extremely quickly in terms of the whole strategy. Yeah. But we still, like many other event companies, moved events and kept that supplier, that client relationship. We didn't if someone wanted their money back, we gave them their money back. We didn't really we transferred a lot of events, and a lot of people, because they were guaranteed the face-to-face meetings but online, we got a lot of support from our clients, which has been amazing.
Which is great. As you said, you already had that base, right, where a lot of companies with similar to what you do, or the larger trade show organisers, have only ever thought about the 2 or 3 day event because it was doing well, right? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I guess you were ahead of the curve in that respect. Was virtual, or adding virtual to your offering, something you had always looked at anyway, do you think? Or had it never sort of come up?
No, definitely not. No. I mean,
well, at least you're honest. Lots of people go, yeah, we were thinking about it for years.
No, you can't beat face-to-face. And people will go back to face-to-face. And, our events, even though the virtuals opened up a massive opportunity for us, because, we can enter into countries that we haven't entered into before. We can enter into industries that we haven't entered into before. And also we can run a hybrid event. So if someone doesn't want to come live, but a live event is taking place, they can always log on online too. So no, I never thought that this would happen, but it has. And as any entrepreneurial company, you need to move with the times. I mean, I'm not saying that there wasn't some hard times. Jesus Christ, I think there was many a times where we sat there as shareholders and thought, how are we going to get through this? But there's a lot of support out there with the industry, and I do think that they can all go back to being competitors after this, but at the moment we're all being very nice to each other. Yeah,
we'll come on to that in a second. So out of a terrible situation, you're saying it's actually opened up some different markets for you?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Will you stick with that then going forward, do you think?
We're still planning, so next year we're still planning on running all the live events, but the first quarter will be virtually. Our first live event is the 26th of April. Yeah. But
you had a nice smile on your face there.
Our first event was in July, and our first event was in September, and then now it's April. But no, we're going to run with that, because I feel we've got this date. We had a go date in October. We've now got another light at the end of the tunnel, and if we don't go for it as an industry, then we won't instill confidence in the whole supply and demand. And, the government talk about the economy getting back on its feet. Well, events play a massive part of that, because buyers and suppliers, are not going to be able to meet and do business and buy and sell.
So you've done these virtual events, obviously, during this period, and you're saying that people have attended, right? So you've introduced buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
Does that suggest that people are still doing business at this time? Because obviously certain industries can't, some can. Have you focused on specific industries where COVID hasn't had as much impact?
I think in terms of our events, I mean, I'll give you an example. So we have run now 12 virtual events. So on average, we have facilitated about 6,000 business meetings where a buyer and a supplier had a conversation. Yeah. Them industries have gone, we've run them industries in, the interior design industry, which was a really, really popular event, considering the hospitality industry has been affected. Security, IT, facilities management, care homes, you know, even the care homes are adapting to virtual.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are having to do this. And yes, buyers and suppliers are still meeting. And not only did we retain the revenue by converting people that have already booked into virtual, we've actually attracted people paying to attend a virtual event.
Fantastic.
So that's been a positive for us.
Yeah, because lots of people I talk to, there's lots of virtual, it takes a lot of time, but they're not making any money out of it, right? And as much as we're all in this together, let's be honest, we also want to try and keep the lights on. So you're saying that actually what you've been doing, you've actually managed to get people to pay and attend your event, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have done other concepts of virtual events. Like we've done the HD, which is our hotel designs brand. We do the HD live and is very much conference, webinar led, and obviously sponsored.
Yeah.
So people are paying to meet with that audience.
Sure.
And obviously that's where they're going to make money going forward. And the more and more people that click online with the webinars, I think the thing is this going to continue? When live events go back, are people really going to be jumping on and looking at webinars? Is it?
Well, yeah, that's the question I was going to ask you. So it's a sort of a double-edged sword. And I think when I speak to people, it all depends possibly what their vested interest is. So in a funny way, whilst you want these virtual events to work, you almost don't want them to work too well because you want to go back to physical, because let's face it, you probably, more money to be made there, and also because you prefer it. So how do you get that balance? Because what are your clients saying to you? Are they saying, actually, you know what, Sarah, this is brilliant, I don't want to come to your physical event? Well, what's the...
Yes, certain industries. I mean, that's not a payments event.
Yeah.
Went really well. Everyone adapted to digital. I think they're used to the whole digital side. They're used to using Zoom and having their meetings online. I don't feel like virtual is going to be a replacement for face-to-face. I feel like we can offer that as an opportunity for a live event, and there will be events that we can run virtually.
Yeah.
And going forward, we know that there is a market in forums of people that they might not be able to be in that price bracket to attend a live event. Therefore, they can do a virtual event because it's a lower tiered pricing package because obviously there's no hotel costs.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't say that we would want to go virtual throughout. Sure. We would definitely want to get back to live events, and it's frustrated me and my business partners that we wasn't allowed to run live events like other countries where they had a limit of 100, 120, because we could have done that. We could have easily have done that in a venue, and we did look into running a live event based on the 30 concept.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because there was an opportunity to run this meetings or
so we could have done that. So you could have had 30 in one room, 30 in the other, and 30 in another room, and they're not allowed to mix between each other, but they could eat in the restaurant in the evening if we booked the restaurant out, which was crazy. And again, I wish the government had looked at clearer guidelines, because I think where the event industry is, we could have adapted to anything. An event organizer would have organised, a protest, would have organised everything down to and everything safe and secure. I mean, the event industry is all secure guidance that's out there. We're ready to go. We've done our pilots. We're ready to go if we get the go ahead. It's just frustrating that they never gave us some opportunities to run smaller business events in hotels, because I think that would have helped that industry get back on its feet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think coming to that then, and obviously you are on the AEO Council, why do you think that this government, compared to other governments in Europe and the rest of the world, why has the message got lost? Do you think it's because events is such a broad church, and maybe industry lobbying groups haven't been able to sort of separate the different parts of the industry. What's your view?
I feel like when you go on to the whole SIC codes, we're never there. I mean, if you went and registered for something, you would sit down and go, well, what am I, marketing? You know, advertising? No, I'm an event organizer. Is it there? No, it's not, because we're in with the DCMS, and we've had a home there, which is fine. I think it's now been highlighted that maybe that's not the right home, and we should have a bigger voice, because it's a £70 billion industry, you know, and it's just the business events alone is about £30 billion. And I feel like being put into the DCMS, we'd be classed as mass gatherings, and obviously we're not. We're organised events.
Do you think we should be within the business department of government?
Yeah, I mean, the government are looking. We're classed in the same band as a football stadium, you know. And when you compare a football stadium or a concert compared to an exhibition or an event, it is very organised. We know who's attending. You know, we could have helped with the track and trace better than any other restaurant or pub out there, because they're all registered to attend. So, you know, it's been a challenging time for associations, you know, the MIA, you know, there's been some brilliant associations, Chris at the AEO, that everyone's been really coming together and lobbying and speaking to their local MPs and pushing it forward. I don't know whether we could have done a better job in trying to push it forward. You know, I just feel like we were the first one to close, and we're not open yet.
Yeah, I think maybe also, and I discussed this with Chris and others as well, obviously up until the pandemic hit, maybe we didn't feel we had a need to lobby government previously, so maybe we were a bit behind in that respect. And I read a stat, or someone told me that in the hospitality industry, they've got 7 full-time paid lobbyists, right? Where obviously we haven't had that as well. So we were always playing catch up to get a voice at the table. So at least a positive out of this now is, God forbid, if something happens again, or just generally, we've now got that seat at the table. Would you sort of accept that?
I do completely agree. I think that, you know, that a lot of people and the whole industry coming together has been amazing, you know, in terms of, you know, getting our voice heard and getting a seat on the table and a voice around there. I just feel like, looking back in hindsight, who would have thought this would have happened? We were quite happy doing our events. We didn't.
Now you got to sit here and talk to me.
Yeah, we just need you know, from the government. We were quite happy. I think people would explain it as, you know, we are one of the sleeping giants of this industry. We're a massive industry. Some highly skilled individuals, and we recruit, and it's a brilliant industry to get into. Hopefully this will never happen again, and it's just going to make it stronger going forward. Once we can get that go date to go live.
So you've put, obviously on your website, you got some events from April. What gives you that confidence?
Well, the thing is, you've got to instill confidence in your clients. You know, if I said to my client, well, it could be in April, but we never know, it might be in July, then they're never going to be confident in that. If I said to them, look, we're going to go for April, pay me the money to go for April. If it's not, you get your money back, or we'll move it. We'll do, you know, we've got to do something. And if we just sat there and waited for them to make that decision, businesses will just fall. Yeah,
I think you're right. And I think actually, if many people do that, then again, people like the government and others see that, you know, we're putting that date in rather than just waiting for them. So we actually have to, you know, sometimes put our best foot forward in that respect. We spoke about the community sort of coming together. What sort of made you so proud, and what sort of initiatives specifically have you sort of enjoyed over this period?
I think there's been many of industries coming together, and media outlets, you know, like Martin Fullard at Conference News. I think he's been amazing. You know, the AEO's been amazing. You've got One Industry, One Voice. that have been collaborating together, and you know, I feel like there there's so many hashtags out there. We make events, you know, Project Confidence, and it just proves how passionate the whole event industry and the people are in it. And I think that says a lot. I really do. I think
and also the suppliers as well, because obviously we put on events as organisers, but we need to make sure the suppliers are looked after as well during this time, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think people, the stand contractors and people, they've been hit hard. You know, a lot of them have adapted to doing the PPE and the screens, and a lot of them are adapting to make COVID secure exhibition stands, and many of them were ready to go in July or September or whatever the go, or October, wherever the go date was. But I feel like a lot of people are in a better position once there is a go date, because we know that we've been ready for the go date in July, we've been ready for the go date in October, so we're definitely ready for April. Fingers crossed that happens.
Sarah, obviously running a business at this time couldn't have been easy, right? And obviously you've got staff, and most companies in this space have had to let good staff go. How have you found sort of leading a company at this time, and you know, what are the traits that you've had to sort of maybe develop, you know, and different things you've had to do than previously?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been tough. We've been in a position where we've had to obviously make some cutbacks in terms of staffing, but I wouldn't have said that we've made more than, say, 20% of it, which is great. I think the adaptation to adapt to managing people to work from home, I feel like my management team, I feel like they've done an amazing job. You know, thank God for Zoom. No one even heard of Zoom. Jesus, I wish we'd bought shares. You know, that people are adapting to this whole working from home. I mean, everyone worked from home. They are working from home. We've been given the opportunity again to furlough until March, but we've made a decision that there was only a few that we would do that, because the differences with the event industry, and this is what's so hard that the government don't understand, is that we can't just stop selling, you know, computers or printers or cups. Our product is in 6 months, a year's time. So we can't just stop our staff and say, I'll furlough them, because they're selling on events for 2021. You know, so it's a real difficult chicken and egg situation, because if we furlough all the staff and there's no one selling on events next year and then restart it, you know, it's a shame that the government are not giving more support in terms of grants and packages for the industry.
Well, I think at least this week, if I'm wrong, they devolved some power to local government to give grants to, and I think they mentioned the events industry for one of the first times. And obviously self-employed now as well are getting something. So it hopefully shows that keeping banging the drum is making some difference.
It is. I think it is. I mean, it's like you watch the news and then all of a sudden they say events and you go, whoa! You know, it's been tough for everyone. It really has. But it also has shown me as a MD of the business how skilled my staff are to adapt. And you know, whereby sometimes you would turn around and say, you know, well, this certain person's working on so many events, and now they're working on 10. You know, who would have thought that? You know, and they're adapting their skills and learning new skills, and you know, I mean, who wanted to learn digital at this time? But we have.
It's the 21st. What century? Yeah, 21st century after all. And sort of finally, then, obviously, you know, Forum, you've got some great plans for the future. If anything, sort of expanding because of virtual. Is there anything else you just want to tell us in terms of Forum and the future and what else you're doing?
Well, in terms of next year, you know, like I said, we're doing 47 events now next year. So that is 18 new virtual events. So again, so virtual hasn't been all bad. You know, it has allowed us to expand into new industries. I think we're doing a lot of collaborations with other exhibition companies and, you know, other media brands as well. We're expanding our whole media outlet. Can you expand on that a bit? Can you just tell me a bit more about that? we've got a brand. We've got two media brands with the magazine of PA Life, which goes out to a number of PAs, predominantly in London, but all over the UK.
Yep.
And then we've got a brand called Hotel Designs, which is of interior designers for the hotel hospitality industry.
Yeah.
That's flying at the minute. That's doing really, really well. And I've got a brilliant team on that. I mean, Katie, the publisher, and Hamish, our editor, I mean, he knows how to do digital. He's known how to do digital all his life. He's always on social media. And that's gone really well. And we've done a lot with our media brands, just like other media companies, that's done a lot of support packages for the industry, which has been good. But yeah, people still want to reach audiences, so the media is an outlet to grow, whether that will be digitally or hopefully printed.
Sure. So you're still very positive about the future.
Very positive about the future, and I think that, you know, there's no way that I could look at the future and think that people wouldn't go to an exhibition or an event. Yeah. You know, I think that is the way it is. I think it will all come back. Yeah. And I think people can't wait to get off the Zoom and go and actually attend an event, look and feel, shake someone's hand, have a glass of champagne, and
hand virtually.
That's it.
Thank you. Sarah Beall, MD of Forum Events, has been fantastic. Thank you so much.